Lord Carrington, do you really mean to withdraw troops, or are you bluffing?
Yeah, well, this was an ultimatum, as you know, issued on Christmas Day and then followed up subsequently by Mr. Mintoff, which said that unless we paid an extra £4.25 million in addition to the money which was agreed at Chequers, we were to get out by the 31st of December, and this, of course, was intolerable. I'm not prepared to do that, and so this isn't a question of bluff.
You're not prepared to do that, but he's told you have
Not
to.
prepared to pay the £4.25 million.
But what about getting out by tomorrow?
Well, it would, of course, be impossible to get out by tomorrow. There are 3,500 British troops, there are 4,500 dependents, there is an enormous amount of equipment, and I would judge that it will take about 3 months to do that, and we shall withdraw in an orderly fashion.
Do you think there's a chance Mr. Mintoff may cause you trouble?
Well, I very much hope not. I think that we've made it plain to Mr. Mintoff that we've no wish to stay in Malta against his wishes, and we shall withdraw, and it would be unreasonable to suppose that you can do that in 36 hours' notice.
How long will it take you?
About 3 months.
Why aren't you prepared to pay the price that he's asking?
I think you have to make up your mind whether or not what a base is worth and how much you and the other NATO countries are prepared to pay. But of course it would be wrong to assume that this is just a question of money. We've been negotiating with Mr. Mintoff at official level for some time on the modalities of a defence agreement, and it has become increasingly apparent that the Maltese government wished to reduce the facilities which the British have had in Malta over these past years. And unless it was possible to change Mr. Mintoff's mind, I do not believe that the facilities that he was prepared to grant would have been adequate, and therefore I don't think any defence agreement would have been possible.
What is the importance of Malta strategically to Britain?
Malta has, of course, diminished very considerably in strategic importance to the British ever since the end of the war and the loss of the empire and the independence of the Commonwealth. We don't have the same need for it from the point of view of routes to the Far East and so on. It does, of course, have a strategic importance to NATO, and hence the involvement of NATO in the negotiations we've been having with Mr. Mintoff. But the facilities which we have in Malta can be re-provided elsewhere, and it isn't of vital importance.
How do you feel about Britain finally leaving Malta, personally?
Well, I'm very sad about it because I have a lot of Maltese friends, and I've known Malta for many years. And I would have thought that, on the whole, this was very much to the disadvantage of the Maltese people. We provide, either directly or indirectly, a lot of employment and a lot of money. And there have been these long connections and friendly connections with the Maltese people. And I'm very sad that it should end this way.
You think Mr. Mintoff is in some way deceiving the Maltese people?
That, of course, is up to the Maltese people, but I would judge that some of the Maltese whom I know would be very horrified at what has been going on over these last 2 or 3 months.
Is there any way that they can change Mr. Mintoff's mind?
Well, that would be for them, not for me.